Good afternoon, all. Audible? Please type in the chat box if audio is clear. Please type in the chat box. If audio is clear. Okay, Salman. Light voice. Check on my side. Now it's clear. Salman. Not clear. Just now it's clear. Salman. Okay. Thank you, dear. Okay. So welcome you all in this your new journey. You are starting your journey as a bachelor students, bachelor in computer application BCA. So it is online study, some different than the uh, commercial classes, or you can say in the offline classes. In this, I can't hear any Ekta. How? And you check Ekta again. Okay, speak loudly. Okay. The teacher of online education is far different than the offline education. Mm, but it is very useful whenever you work as in a place. So it is comfortable to you anywhere, from anywhere you can take your classes. At any time you can take your classes. Recorded video is available. Okay. So start the subject. It is your practical subject, that is PC software and automation. PCSWA. Full form is PC software and automation. Ekta, voice is clear? Okay, thank you so much. So I think voice is clear from my side. So it is PC software and automation. Why we study this subject? It is just for a basic knowledge of the PC components. What is PC? Where from starting in 1947 to up to how many generations are available? What is the component of PC? How it is connect? What is the use of this components? After that, in the next practical, we study about the Microsoft Office, how to work in the Word files, what is the useful of Excel, how to use in Excel formulas, and advanced Excel. Okay, now in the fifth or sixth practical, we studies about the we will study about the how to create the PPTs. Okay, it is very useful for you as a BCA students, because in the final year you have to make some project. So you need to write your project report as well as some data collection. So you need the Word as well as the Excel. On that time, you have to present some project on the PPTs. So very useful for you, the subject, which is a PC software and your automation. Now the first practical is, what is PC? PC is a computer PC and its basic components. So, uh, first of all, introduction myself. I am Dr. Surendra Sindhua, Assistant Professor, this Vivekananda Global University. Also taking a BCA program coordinator. So, whenever you need some help, like related to your course, so you can contact to me during your lectures. Okay. So, some guideline for a smooth conduction the program. So, in the every session, you have to maintain the discipline because it is very useful for you and as well as the other students. The all lectures will be recorded. So you have to maintain the decorum. For the attendance marking, you have to write your name with your enrollment number, program name, like your name is Salman, then Salman, with underscore with your roll number, and then the program that is BCA first sem in the chat box only. Also, if you have any query during the session, so you have to raise your hand in the chat box. Also, you can write your question in the chat box. Whenever the faculty is see your question, then give your answer. Faculty give your answer after the topic is over. Okay, so you have to maintain your attendance or join your full lecture for solving your queries. Further, if you see your lecture after the recorded on the recorded form in the evening or after 1 or 2 3 days, and still you have some query, so you can contact your SRM team for this. Okay. In the every classes, we for the attendance, since I already told, you write your name with your roll number in the chat box in the starting. If you have any query, type in the last. So it is not confused to type your roll number or any query. Okay. Further, if you have any query related to your academics, so you can uh, send me your query with the email that is pcbca@vg.ac.in. Okay. Now again on the it is showing this pcbca@onlinevg.com. Okay. For the LMS inquiry, you can type your message LMS manager underscore studio @vg.ac.in. During the lecture, uh, don't interrupt in the chat. Only chat you type your relative question. Okay. Mute yourself during the session. Kindly note your video and audio both are stopped or disabled during the classes. Okay. So start the session. It is your first practical that is PC and its basic component. Okay, it is your first practical. Just on my pen with PC and its basic component. Now, what is PC? PC is a personal computer. Okay, so every session having some objective and learning objective. So in this session, learning objectives of this session is you will be able to understand about the component of computers and how to connect the parts of the computer, difference between hardware and software parts of the computer, and what is the motherboard and the processor in the computer. Okay, so first of all, history of a computer. Just a minute, I see in the chat box. How now my roll number? It is not my part. It is your admission part. I already told kindly type the related question on the in the chat box. Okay. So history of the personal computer in the early times, the computer computers were designed to large organization who attach the thin terminal of multiple users to a single large computer. Means one computer is controlled by a many people because the computer is very large part that time. So every computer having distributed in a different parts. So each part is controlled by a different user. So only that time, in the early time, the computer is controlled by many people. You can say in the 1960 or 65. After that, in the 1980, technology is advanced and made it feasible to build a small small and smart computer that is controlled by an individual person. So it is called a personal computer. Okay. So just a minute, wait for a 2 minutes. So a computer is used by a single person that is called a personal computer. In the 1980s, technologies advanced and made a feasible built a small computer that is controlled by an individual person. Okay. Now the personal computer began widespread into 1980. First was it is was very expensive because all component having some parts that's having some expensive. So overall computer it cost is very high and its work very late means its speed is very slow. Okay, because that time a semiconductor devices or other devices connected that is take a some time. So the in the modern days we use a system that having a very fast. So every computer speed is depend on the processor. Processor means the how many times to take to compute a one individual instruction, or you can say a one instruction have a time to take a complete that is called a times taken by the computer. Okay, so it is depend on the frequency of the computer. It's measured in the form of gigahertz or megahertz. Earlier days in the 1985 we used a 8085 processor that work on the megahertz frequency. But nowadays computer work on the gigahertz. Okay, so its speed is very fast because frequency is equal to 1 upon t, or you can say time is inversely proportional to the frequency. So that time taken by the computer to perform a task is depend on the system frequency. Okay, sir हिंदी में as per the guideline your course is only in the English. Okay, जो लास्ट के अंदर पूरा अपन समराइज कर देंगे एक बार, ठीक है, अभी के लिए ओनली इंग्लिश. Okay. So the first personal computer is made by the Kenbeck one, launched in the 1971. Okay, that is only a 250 byte memory, only 256 byte of memory. But nowadays we use in the terabytes of a memory. Okay, so the function of the computer, the first computer task is to collect the data. Data is collect from the input. So every computer having required an input device to collect the data. Input device whenever you press a keyboard key, form and then sent to the computer. Now computer having a processor that process as per the input signal or as per the instruction or as per the program. So store the data or instruction in the memory. Use them are required. So every computer having required a some memory. Processor not having a memory. So we use some external memory or use a connect with via processor. It may be your RAM, ROM or hard disk, many kind of memory we use. Every memory having a some work. Okay, so we will explain in the next session what is RAM, what is ROM, and what is hard disk. Okay, different types of memory we use. Now, the process of data is convert into a useful information. Means whenever you type some data or send to the computer, the processor take a action as per your data and convert into a useful information. Or like you type A in your keyboard, so it is display A. Okay. Whenever you use Control C, that is work as a copy the data. When you use C Control A, that is select your old data. So having as per the instruction, processor do some task and it is called a useful information. Then as per the useful information, system can take some action and generate some output signal. And this output signal is sent to the output devices. This okay. So it is input. Inputs may be your keyboard, your mouse, your any kind of input devices. Output your display device, your screen, your LED, 7 segment, many kind of output devices we use. So processor give a signal to the output devices after the taken the action. So these having a 4 step. First, take the data. Okay. Second one is store the instruction or the memory or useful information is required. Then process data and convert into the output that is called a action taken. And then generate the output signal and send to the output signal to the output device. Okay. चलिए एक सेकंड में मैं कंटिन्यू बता देता हूँ. Video is not visible of the topic. Sunny, just a minute. No, it is visible. Sunny. So, okay, I will explain in Hindi in just a 1 minute. हर कंप्यूटर के 3 पार्ट होते हैं. इनपुट जाता है तो प्रोसेस किया जाता है और फिर आउटपुट जनरेट है. ओके, प्रोसेसर प्रोसेस करता है, इनपुट से सिग्नल लेता है और आउटपुट को दे देता है. ओके, अंडरस्टैंड. So it is take the input, store the data, processing the data, output information, and then control of the work. So as per the computer development, the computer generation is divided into a 5 generation. First generation, second generation computer, third generation computer, fourth generation computer, and fifth generation computer. So in the first generation, the technology are used is the vacuum tube circuitry. It means the all circuit are made with the vacuum tube, and the memories are used as a magnetic drum, just like we see in your old film. Some drum type cassettes and drumstick is moved on the magnetic drum. So it is some songs are you can listen. Just kind of memory we use in the computer in the first generation. Now size and speed is very small. Size means the computer system size is very high. It is you can say it is one computer installed in a big room, but speed is very slow. That time a computer is controlled by many people. Some people work on the processor, some work people on the some other task, and the approximately 7 to 8 people work on one computer only for do some task. Input is by a punch card. That kind of mechanical pressure you can see. Uh, some mechanical sticks are used. That is called a punch card on for providing the input, just like a typewriter. Okay. Now paper tap in the that is paper strips and then printout is taken in the form of some typewriters. Okay. That time programming language is used a machine language in the binary codes. Okay, just like in the zero and one form, zero and one form. Advantage of this computer, it is a first step is computing, so it is very advantage at that time, but not in the modern day. Or could perform the calculation automatically. So it is very useful in the 1940 to 1956 because it is calculate automatically, take some time, but is very useful when you calculate some complex calculation. Disadvantage is that it is huge size, or you can say electricity is required, consumption is very high, produce lots of heats and frequently failure due to temperature or cost is very high. Example of this is INAC, ENIAC, UNIVAC, UNIVAC, ADVAC. Okay. Now, after that, a second generation computer is that year is 1956 to 1963. Technology was used a transistor. Transistor or MOSFETs are used in place of vacuum tube. Size is smaller as compared to the computer. Speed is also increased. More advantage that it is reliable and energy efficient. It is more energy efficient because transistor require a less energy as compared to the vacuum tube. Okay. Now, input devices that time we use punch card and the magnetic tape are replaced, and magnetic tapes are used for a output device. Okay. Programming language that time we use assembly language program or high level COBOL and Fortran language are used. Advantage is that it is more reliable, less heats. So transistor is generated heat, but it is less as compared to the vacuum tube. Okay. Cost is low as compared to the first generation computer. Disadvantage is that it's still costly. Okay, required air conditioning. So example for this one is IBM 1401, IBM 7094, and 1108. Now after that third generation computer, that is in the 1964 to 1971, we used a third generation computer. That technology is depend on the IC, that is called integrated circuits. Means transistor is replaced and the ICs are introduced in this generation of computer. Size is smaller than the transistor because in the transistor logic we use many transistor, but in the IC integrated circuit we use. So it is much smaller than the second generation, but uh, it is reliable and power is less required, also powerful and speed is increasing. Okay. Now that time we use keyboard as an input device. Okay. And the monitor are introduced and monitor is used in the output devices. Now the programming language is high level languages are used like a C, Pascal and basic language we use. Advantage is that it is multiprocessing means one computer can do a many tasks. Okay. But at a time it's do only a one task. Okay. Now it is lower cost, more storage. Okay. Disadvantage is that it is circuit is very complex. Technology for manufacturing is IC, so its temperature increase. So we use a heat sink with the ICs. After that, a fourth generation computers is introduced in the 1971 to 19 mid between 1980 to 1990. That time technologies are used microprocessor 805, 8086, 8080 we use. Means hundred of ICs are connected in a processor that is called a micro in a single chip. Its size is very small as compared to the first generation, second generation, and the third generation. Its speed is also increased and very fast because it's work on the megahertz frequency processor. Use a mouse ng, also we use a graphical user interface GUI. Programming language that time we use C and C++, Java, and the advantage is that it is very useful. It is portable. First advantage is that it is very cheap, reliable, and also we use in the education and the home purpose as well as in the business and work. Disadvantage that it is limited by processing speed and memory compared to the today's. So its memory is very high as compared to first, second, third generation, but less as compared to today's computer. Okay. Now the fifth generation, that is in the 1986 to up to, we use a fifth generation computer. These technologies are used for the VLSI, that is called very large scale integrated circuit, or ULSI. VLSI is the ultra large scale integrated circuit. Also work on the AI, that is artificial intelligence, parallel processing. Parallel processing means you can do many tasks as a simultaneous. For example, in this time we study means we can share your my PPT, also my video, also my audio. So you can hear my audio as well as you can see my screen, my PPTs, and my video also. So many tasks is performed by the simultaneously in this computer. So you can say it is parallel process. Okay? Quantum computing or concept emerging. Okay, so size is extremely small, like in just like a smartphone or laptop. Okay, ultra fast processing. Also, input devices we use in the touch screen or voice recognition, multimedia, microphone, headphone, any kind of input and output devices we use. Programming languages we use OOP, C++, Java, Python, machine learning, many programming we use in that technology. Advantage is you can see very high speed, cost is less as compared to the today's scenario. Okay. Also networking are easy, AI based system. Okay. Disadvantage is high cost. Okay. Now example for this is modern PC, smartphone, AI power system, robotics, and cloud computing we use in the fifth generation. Okay. So if you have any query related to the this slides, you can type in the chat box. Anyone? Sir, noise is coming from Ajay sir. Jim. Okay, I will. Just a minute. Okay. So if you have any query, no? Anyone? Salman, Ishita, Khushbu, Krish, Mahinder, Manoj, Minal, anyone? हिंदी में पूछ लीजिए, आप चैट में टाइप कर दीजिए. नो, वो तो कोई क्वेरी नहीं है. महेंद्र, in chat box disable. How me chat box everyone is appearing disable for me, not to me. आप मेरे को पर्सनल चैट कर सकते हैं, आप अपने ग्रुप में चैट नहीं कर सकते, ग्रुप चैटिंग अलाउड नहीं है. थर्ड जनरेशन. ओके सलमान, आई विल बी रिपीट. Okay, Pawan. So I will explain again the third generation. In the third generation computer, uh, it is in the 1964 to 1971. IC technologies are used. Now, what is IC? IC is for integrated circuit. Means many transistor you can integrate it in a one small chip. It's just like some black chip. Okay. Uh, the size is smaller as compared to the first and second generation. But as compared with third or fourth, is size is very high. So that time size is smaller. Fast as compared to the first and second generation because we use the integrated circuit. So you can see in the integrated circuit, transistor are connected to in a one circuit only. So signal is very fastly travel. Okay, and also we use some integrated circuit, so speed is very fast. Okay, more powerful and we also are reliable. Okay, but that time we use a keyboard and the monitor. In the third generation, first time we use keyboard as a input device. Before that, we use a punch card only for a input device. Punch card is just like a keyboard, but it is a typewriter keyboard. अगर आप लोगों ने पुराने टाइम में कभी देखा टाइपराइटर होता है जिसको हम टाइपिंग सीखते हैं जिसमें कागज टक 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 करके होता रहता है दैट इज कॉल्ड अ टाइपराइटर ओके but it is used in the first and second generation. In the third generation we use a electronics key sorry electronics keyboard. Obviously key size is very large as compared to today's keyboard, but it is very useful that time. Okay, now on that time we use a monitor as an output. Before that we use only a magnetic tape, or you can say we use a paper typewriter. Okay, for the printout. Okay, means punch कार्ड से अपन टाइप कर दो पेपर पे आपके आउटपुट दिख जाए दैट टाइम. ओके, मैग्नेटिक टेप पे आप अपनी वॉइस को रिकॉर्ड करके भेज रहे थे या ऑडियो को रिकॉर्ड करके भेज रहे थे. ओके, but in the third generation we use a monitor, but this monitor is just like a CRT tube, very huge size as compared to today's and LEDs screen, LCDs and LEDs screen. But that time we use a monitor. Okay, also introduced with the operating system. Languages are used, high level languages, processing C or Pascal we use. Okay, and please repeat second generation in simple language. Okay, चलिए सेकंड लैंग्वेज को थोड़ा सा हिंदी में बताता हूँ जस्ट 2 मिनट के अंदर. सेकंड जनरेशन में हमने क्या करा, फर्स्ट जनरेशन में हम वैक्यूम ट्यूब यूज कर रहे थे. सेकंड जनरेशन में हम ट्रांजिस्टर लेके आ गए. ट्रांजिस्टर क्या था, एक तीन पिन का कंपोनेंट डिवाइस होती है, बहुत सारे ट्रांजिस्टर लगा के हमने सर्किट को थोड़ा सा छोटा कर लिया एज कम्पेयर वैक्यूम की. बट इन दी थर्ड जनरेशन इन ट्रांजिस्टर को हमने रिप्लेस कर दिया आईसी. ओके, सेकंड जनरेशन थोड़ा सा कम जगह घेर रहा था एज कम्पेयर फर्स्ट जनरेशन, बट ये भी एक कमरे से थोड़ी सी कम जगह घेर रहा था. ठीक है, इसकी स्पीड फास्ट होगी. ट्रांजिस्टर एक इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स डिवाइसेस में सेमीकंडक्टर लगे. Semiconductor devices always faster as compared to the other devices in the electronics. Okay, understand? Right, Kumar. In the fourth and fifth generation. Okay, Salman. So it is your computer system. In the computer system, already told, it is your input device. This one, it is your output device. Now, what is your computer system? It is your computer system. This one. But every system having required input devices as well as output devices. So without input and output devices, PC is not one. It is called CPU, Central Processing Unit. Okay. So every computer having required a three things: input devices, CPU, and the output device. Understand? Input devices, your keyboard, your mouse, your mic. Just like अभी मैं आपसे बात कर रहा हूँ, मैं input दे रहा हूँ. That is my mic. ओके, मैं आपकी आवाज सुन पा रहा हूँ, अगर आप कुछ बोलते हो दिस हेडफोन, this called as speaker, like a speaker. Okay, so every computer system having required three type of devices: input devices, output devices. Now, what is output devices? Just like a screen, the monitor screen. Okay, the speaker, your headphone is the output devices. Now, in the center, we use a CPU, that is called a central processing unit. It is very important. Now, central processing unit having many parts. Important part is memory, because you have every computer system work on the data. Nowadays, we work any kind of processing that is depends on the data. So what is data? Data is not it is just a group of information. It's called a data. Okay. So we have required some space where we save your data, where we can save our data. That is called a memory. Nowadays we use a cloud as a memory, but in the computer system, we use a memory like a RAM, ROM, hard disk, and many kind of memory we use. Okay. Now the memory are stored your information as well as your instruction or your data. Okay. Understand? What is your question? Just a minute. Move forward. Okay. Sorry. Control unit. What is control units? The control units that control your system. Now, what is the required of control unit? Means, for example, if a kind of input devices are connected, like your keyboard, mouse, mic, everything are connected with your computer. चलिए आपको एक ओके, मैं थोड़ा सा बताया था, जैसे अपन कंप्यूटर पे काम कर रहे हैं, बहुत सारी इनपुट डिवाइस आपके साथ कनेक्टेड है, कीबोर्ड, माउस और स्पीकर, और भी पैरेलल प्रोसेसिंग चल रही है। कंप्यूटर एक बार में एक ही टास्क को परफॉर्म करता है, लेकिन वो इतनी फास्ट करता है कि आपको लगता है कि सारे काम एक साथ हो रहे हैं। इसकी मैं आप कंप्यूटर की स्क्रीन को भी चेंज कर रहा हूँ, दोनों काम एक साथ हो रहे हैं, लेकिन ये प्रोसेसर एक साथ नहीं करता है। प्रोसेसर एक बार में एक काम को करता है, दैट टेक सम टाइम, बस इस ये जो टाइम होता है बहुत स्मॉल होता है, दैट इज इन नैनो सेकंड और पिको सेकंड। तो आपको लगता है कि आपको प्लग झपक से सारा काम हो गया, तो ये सारा काम एक साथ नहीं हुआ, तो टुकड़ों के अंदर होता है। तो दैट्स वर्क इज प्रोसेसर डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड इनटू शेड्यूलिंग। इस सारी चीजों को कंट्रोल करने के लिए अपना कंट्रोल यूनिट की जरूरत पड़ती है, दैट इज कॉल्ड शेड्यूलिंग। इसके बारे में आप ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम का आपका फोर्थ सेमेस्टर में सब्जेक्ट रहेगा, उसमें आप डिटेल करेंगे। ठीक है। नाउ ALU, what is ALU? ALU is called arithmetic logical unit. You can say it is a brain of your computer, कि क्या क्या करना है, कब करना है, कैसे करना है, all things are arranged by this ALU, arithmetic logical unit. मीन्स आपने कुछ इनपुट किया, इसको क्या करना है, कैलकुलेशन करनी है, इसको डिस्प्ले कराना है, इसको क्या करना है, ये सारी चीजें ALU के डिसाइड होती है। अर्थमेटिक और लॉजिकल डिसीजन यही है। ओके, एंड देन सेंड टू द आउटपुट सिग्नल इफ रिक्वायर्ड। ये मेमोरी को भी दे सकते हैं। ओके, and you can see your this arrow is in this side, means input से only data जा सकता है। ओके, यहाँ से डेटा ओनली इस तरफ जा सकता है, that is called। ओके, यहाँ पे रिपीट आपका सीएम नहीं है। ओके, यहाँ पे भी आपका नहीं है, ये नहीं है। ओके, this one is not, means your data is only travel input to control unit और computer and computer to output। मेमोरी पे डेटा आ भी सकता है और जा भी सकता है, तो we use a bi-directional, understand? You can send your signal to the memory and as well as receive the signal or data from the memory. Now ALU पे भी हम डेटा दे सकते हैं, दे सकते हैं। ओके, ALU पे हमने इनपुट डेटा दिया, जो भी टास्क परफॉर्म हुआ वो वापस कंट्रोल यूनिट पे आ गया, अब या तो आउटपुट पे जाएगा या मेमोरी। अंडरस्टैंड? क्या आ गया समझ में? मनोज, ओके, थैंक यू सो मच। सो introduction of personal computer. The personal computer is a digital computer designed for use by only one person at a time. I already told. System is made of a combination of hardware and software. The personal computer is made with the two kind of devices. You can say software devices and the hardware devices. Now, what is software devices? So software devices that you cannot touch. It is just like your software operating system. Okay. Hardware is a mechanical devices, or you can say it is a physical. You can touch your devices. That is called a hardware devices, like your keyboard or processor, your motherboard or RAM, memory. ठीक है इनको आप टच कर सकते, you can physically touch that kind of devices. It is called a hardware devices. Your CRT, your LEDs, and many kind of devices. Okay. So CPU further divided into a motherboard, hard disk, RAM is called random access memory, power supply, and the processor. Okay. So further, after CPU, input devices and output devices. The input devices is keyboard and mouse. Okay. And output devices is screen display like LED, LCD, monitor, and printer is also output device. So part of computer can say it is computer case, monitor, speaker, mouse, printer, hard drive, RAM, motherboard, processor, and the keyboard. These all devices are called a part of the computer. Okay. So central processing unit (CPU). CPU is a main part of your computer system. Okay. You can say it is a brain of the computer. Yes, speaker is output device because it is convert computer input, computer inbuilt data into your output. You can hear with the help of speakers. Okay. So the CPU is the brain of the computer, perform the every kind of task is performed in the CPU. The CPU having some group of components, that is your motherboard or hard disk. Okay. The instruction. Now what is instruction? The instruction is a group of information or group of you can say it is instruct by input devices or by the processor to the system. It is called an instruction and it is stored in the memory. Okay. Processor not having a memory, processor inbuilt memory is zero. Okay. We use some external memory to the computer for performing the task with the help of processor. And it perform most of the processing tasks of the computer and control the operation of the other components also. Means CPU is control the all kind of components that is connected to the directly or indirectly your system. Means your keyboard, your mouse, your speaker, mic, all kind of devices is controlled by the CPU. Okay, because we every kind of processing is decided by the CPU. Okay. So in the CPU, first part is motherboard. Now, what is motherboard? Motherboard is a group of components. You can see it is just like a PCB, printed circuit board. This is a main circuit board that connect to all components of the computer in the houses of the CPU, RAM, and the other important components. Directly and indirectly, hard devices of the motherboards are connected. Okay. Now, second device is HDD. HDD is called hard disk drive, and SSD is solid state drive. It is a storage device that stores all the data and program on the computer. Okay, every kind of program is stored in the hard disk. Okay, the hard disk uses spinning disk on the stored data, while SSD uses a flash memory device. Now, what's the difference between HDD and SSD? HDD is just like a spinning disk. It has some magnetic tape spin on the some rotating can say material. Okay, and the one sensor are connected, then move on the this disk. But in the SSD, data is stored in the form of flash memory. You can see in the optical kind of information data in the form of optical. Okay. Now also the central processing unit is having some RAM that is called a random access memory. This memory is just a temporary memory, but the system speed is decided by the RAM. Whenever your system is connected having a large amount of RAM, then your system is speed is very fast because it is store the temporary data that task will be performed or perform at that time. Okay, जैसे मैंने कहा कि कंप्यूटर एक बार में कई टास्क परफॉर्म कर सकता है, लेकिन प्रोसेसर एक बार में एक ही को कर वो शेड्यूलिंग कर देता है, उस शेड्यूलिंग के अकॉर्डिंग काम करता है. दैट इज decided by the RAM. RAM is stored that information in execution of the program. So that program that can CPU is currently used. That all program stored in the RAM. So RAM is computer having a more RAM, and your computer speed is very fast. Means it is multiple program can perform simultaneously. Okay. Now next one is PSU. PSU is called a power supply unit. Okay. This component convert the AC power from the wall outlet to the DC power. Okay. Every electronics devices that is connected in your system requires a DC. Okay. So we use a device that convert AC into a DC. So we use PSU, that is program power supply unit, that convert AC into the DC and give the supply to the all units of your system. Because your memory is required supply, your keyboard, your motherboard is required supply, CRT is required supply. So we connect to the PSU and distributed the power supply. Next is graphical processing unit, GPU. It's component is responsible for imaging and video of your computer. Okay, whenever some graphics or some movement kind of information is sent, just like a video or image, so that's why we use a GPU. In the early days, in the 1980s or 95 up to, we use external GPU. Nowadays, GPU is inbuilt connected in your system. Okay, पहले हम इसको एक्सटर्नली लगाते थे, यूज करते थे, और जरूरत हो तो लगाते थे, नहीं लगाते. लेकिन आजकल हर कंप्यूटर के साथ ही इनबिल्ट सिस्टम में मदरबोर्ड के साथ ही लगा हुआ है, आपको अलग से लेने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती. यस, इफ यू रिक्वायर अ मोर ग्राफिकल इंटरफेरेंस, अगर आप कोई कंप्यूटर गेम खेलते हैं या कोई आप डिजाइनिंग पे काम कर रहे हैं या कोई आप अच्छा काम देन वी यूज अ एक्सटर्नल ग्राफिक कार्ड इफ रिक्वायर्ड. बट इनबिल्ट आता है कि आप अपना इजीली काम कर सकते हैं, आप वीडियो वगैरह. ओके, अंडरस्टैंड. So it is especially important for a task just like a gaming, video editing, and the graphic design. Now processor. The processor is a main part of the computer that performs the task. Every kind of task is performed in the processor. It is a main processor in the computer that runs the operating system and apps. Now CPU is responsible for the interpreting most of the computer commands. So performing basic arithmetic, logical, and the input-output operation, and the allocating the commands and the other components. So we use a processor. Processor mainly तीन काम करता है. Processor do three kind of work. First is fetch, decode, and then execute. Fetch means the instruction is to hard disk or memory. Then it is come into the processor. Okay, processor memory से कोई भी information processor में आती है. That is called fetch. Fetch के बाद that is decode, means क्या काम करना है, what is perform task will be performed. That is called decode. It is done by the processor. After the decoding, it's sent to the execution. Output devices for how to execute what is work will be done. Okay, how to done. That's for execute. So three kinds of work is done by the processor: fetch, okay, then decode, and then execute. Fetch, decode, and execute. Now motherboard. The motherboard is a main circuit. Already I explained it is a printed circuit board, PCB like device. PCB which hold the memory. Every kind of devices are connected to the motherboard. Also memory is connected to the motherboard. Okay, and expansion slots are available on the motherboard, so you can increase your memory size, increase your graphic cards, or other kind of devices you can connect it to the motherboard with the help of this slots. So every kind of devices that perform some tasks is directly or indirectly connected to the motherboard through some slots or through some wires directly. It's made up a chipset. It is some code are stored in the ROM, that is read-only memory, and the various interconnection of the buses. Now, what is buses? But bus is nothing. It's a group of wires. In the computer system, we use some wire strip that is called a buses. So every kind of data transfer in the computer, it's using the buses, group of wires. Now, PC is designed today use many different buses of link their various components. Hmm. Chipset means the chipset is a group of components on a one circuit, just like a chip connected in a one circuit. That is called a chipset. Okay. Now, all motherboards include a small blocks of read-only memory. It is only used by a motherboard. Uh, can't read this data of this memory. Okay, which is separate from the main memory used for the loading and running the software BIOS. Okay, basic input output system. So the ROM or the contain the PC basic input output system. It's offer a two advantages. First, the code and data is ROM BIOS need to be reloaded each time computer is started. Means whenever you start your computer, it is need to so if the system information is already stored in the ROM, okay, so we don't need reloaded again and again. Okay, one time is reloaded, then computer is used data this information from the ROM. Okay, they cannot be corrupted by unwanted applications like a virus and other kind of unwanted applications. Get right into a wrong path of the memory. Okay, the flash updated BIOS may be uploaded by a floppy disk or ensure nowadays we not use a floppy disk, we use some pen drives to update our system. Okay. Now it is a motherboard. You can see it having a chipset, processor slot, input output processor slot. Okay. You can see it is a motherboard. Many kind of slots are available. And for power socket, RAM socket. Okay. Buses are connected through this strip. Minimal. Now already told PC components. Next component is RAM. That is called random access memory. It is the temporary memory that store in the data and program that the CPU is currently using. Okay, it is not a part of processor. It is an external part of the processor, but connected to the motherboard. Okay, RAM. RAM is temporary memory. Okay, it is not a part of your hard disk. It is a separate from the hard disk. Okay, so you if your system, you want to increase your system speed, but it is some range. Okay, so the more RAM this computer has, the faster it can run a multiple program as simultaneously. In simultaneously, you store the information your of program which you want to run simultaneously. Okay, so RAM is a short-term memory or storage data means whenever your system is off, the all information are deleted in the RAM. It's allow a processor to access the data more quickly and allow user to run tasks simultaneously. Okay, whenever you switch off your system, the data is erased from the RAM. Okay, so RAM is further two types: static RAM, that is called SRAM, and the dynamic. The static RAM, this time is RAM is more expensive, but speed is very fast, require less power than the DRAM. Okay, the SRAM is just like a cell or keep data in a memory for a one memory location. Okay, one memory. The dynamic RAM is a higher power consumption, okay, as compared to the SRAM. but its cost is small, cheaper than the SSD. Okay. Now, further is two types: synchronous DRAM and the rambus DRAM. Okay. Now it is, you can see it is a hard disk. So hard disk is a external memory we use and connected to the motherboard. It is not a part of the processor also. Okay, but it is a permanent memory. It is store your data permanent. Okay, so this hard disk or SSD is a storage device that store the all kind of information. Means your program, your operating system, your data, any kind of data is stored in the hard disk. You can distribute your memory for as per your use. Okay, so HDD is uses spinning disk to store the data, and SSD run flash memory chip. Okay, so HDD and SSD, two kind of hard disk. HDD is hard disk drive in this spinning disk, already told, and SSD is a flash memory chip. Okay, SSD is speed is very fast as compared to the HDD. Okay, but SSD is more expensive as compared to the HDD. Okay, and HDD is required booting time more as compared to SSD. So you can say uh, SSD is fast booting time. Okay. Now power supply unit already told is provide the power supply and convert to AC signal into DC signal. The graphical processing unit, it is provide a graphical for a gaming and video purpose. Okay. Optical disc, just like a CD and DVD. Nowadays we not use this CD and DVD drives. Now a peripheral devices. The peripheral devices that is connected to the your system. It may be your keyboard, your mouse, printer, and pen. Okay. Now other kind of cards we use in our system. Where are you gonna? Yes, the recorded video is available on your LMS after 5 to 7 days of the scheduler. Okay. Voice Uday, are you there? कोई दिक्कत नहीं है साइड से तो. So in a computer motherboard we use many kind of cards. These are like a PCI card. PCI card for is peripheral communication interface card. Okay. Many kind of input devices, output devices you can connect to this PCI card. ISA card, that is an industrial standard architecture card. AGP card. AGP card is called accelerate graphic ports. AMR card is audio modem riser for increasing audio system, and the VGA card, that is for LAN card, are for usually connected to your system with the network, that is local area network. Sound card and modem. Modem are also used just like a network card. You can connect internet through the modem. Okay. Sound card for connecting to the external devices. Okay. Nowadays, these all cards are internally connected in your system. Okay. These all cards already inserted or connected in your motherboard. इन सब की डिटेल्स है all cards. Now processor. Okay. Already told three main functions are done by the processor: fetch, decode, and execute. Fourth and last function is also done by the processor, that is called a write back, but it is optional. Write back sometimes is not required. Mainly three kinds of tasks is performed by the processor: fetch, decode, and execute. Fetch means collect the information or instruction from the external memory, program memory. Okay. Then decode it means where the instruction is converted into a understand which part of the CPU is required to the continue operation. Okay. So processor is a type of integrated circuit. Processor fetch the instruction from the memory, decode understand what is being asked, and then carry the instruction. They do this performing mathematical calculation like addition, multiplication, or logical operation, and or and not. And then historically, the CPU and the processor were used to synonyms to each other. Okay. Sometimes CPU is called a processor and processor called a CPU, but processor is a part of the CPU. Okay. The CPU also having a memory and the control unit. Okay. So it is task by the performed by the processor, that is fetch means from the memory, send to the control unit, then decode. After the decoding, send to the ALU where task is performed or execute. Then again send to the memory if required, otherwise send to the output device. Okay. So this four task is called a write back. Or you can write back. Okay. So I think time is over. So if you have any query, type in the chat box. इसके बाद से अपन आगे पढ़ेंगे. मैं प्रोसेसर के बारे में एक जस्ट इंफॉर्मेटिव आपको बता रहा हूँ. प्रोसेसर किस तरीके काम करता है, कहाँ फैच, देन क्या टास्क करना है, दैट इज कॉल्ड डिकोड, एंड कैसे काम करना है, किसको काम करना है, दैट इज कॉल्ड अ एग्जीक्यूशन. ओके. So further, if you have any query, type in the chat box. Manoj, Pooja, Piyush, Salman, Ekta, Gungun. If you have any query, type in the chat box. Okay, all clear. Okay, video will be available after the 4 or 5 days in your LMS. Okay, after the Diwali. Yes, regular classes will be held and informed to the LMS or in your group. Some problem is unable to find the last class video on the LMS. Okay, Prashanjit, मैं सर को बता देता हूँ. आपके LMS में आपको मिल जाए. इसकी नेक्स्ट क्लास कब होगी सर? नेक्स्ट वीक. थैंक यू, वेलकम. ऑल क्लियर. ओके, ऑल क्लियर. टिल नाउ इट्स ऑल क्लियर. थैंक यू प्रिंस. ओके, थैंक यू. जो सर LMS में रिकॉर्डेड क्लास शो नहीं हो रही है. ओके, दिव्यन ज्योति दास, आपको कल तक, मंडे को आपको पता करके दूंगा. ठीक है, आप ही ग्रुप में मैसेज करवा दें. ठीक है. ओके. Bole Pandey, due to admission are going on, that's why regular classes will be held from the next week. Okay. Okay. So I think enough for you today. Last that I am Bengali students who for the Durga Puja are able to join the class that day. Okay, no issue, Prabjot. प्रसन्नजीत दत्ता. ओके. लाइव क्लासेस के लिंक आपके पास रिकॉर्डेड फॉर्म के अंदर जो है वो आपके पास नेक्स्ट वीक तक आपके एलएमएस पर अपलोड करा. ओके. सो थैंक यू ऑल. Thank you and happy learning.